You feel the laptop close before you decide to close it. Your hand moves on its own. Then you're just sitting there, on the kitchen floor, staring at a number on a spreadsheet that took 9 years to build. $1.2 million. Enough, by every calculation you've ever run. You wait to feel triumphant. What you feel instead is your pulse in your throat, and you don't know why yet. 6 months from now, you will. Level 1. The finish line. You are 35. Software engineer, Austin. Salary, $148,000. For 9 years, you lived on half of it. No car payment, no takeout on weekdays. A spreadsheet with your name at the top and a number underneath that grew every single month, the way other people track steps or calories. Except this number was the only metric that mattered. It crosses $1.2 million on a Thursday in March. You check it 4 times before you trust it. Your wife finds you on the kitchen floor, laptop open, crying. Not from sadness, from arithmetic. 4% of $1.2 million is $48,000 a year. That has always been enough. You've run the number 100 times in the dark, on your commute, in the shower. You never once ran the number for what comes after. Monday morning, you walk into your manager's office. You don't rehearse the speech. You don't need to. 2 sentences, and you hand over the laptop that has owned your calendar for 9 years. He asks if you're sure. You say you've never been more sure of anything in your life. You believe it completely, right up until the elevator doors close. You walk out of the building at 10:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. The parking lot is empty because everyone else is still inside, still working, still owned by a calendar you just deleted. You sit in your car for 6 minutes before you start the engine. Your hands are shaking. You tell yourself it's relief. First rule: the finish line only exists inside the spreadsheet. Nobody warns you that the life waiting on the other side has no line drawn anywhere at all. Level 2. The silence. You are 35, 3 weeks free. Week 1 is a vacation with no return flight. You sleep until 9. You cook actual breakfast. You finish a novel in 4 days, something you haven't done since college. Friends text asking how it feels. You type "unreal" and mean it completely. Week 2. The calendar app on your phone sits empty for the first time in a decade. You open it 7 times a day anyway, out of a habit your thumb hasn't caught up with yet, the way your tongue keeps finding a missing tooth. Nobody needs anything from you before noon. Nobody needs anything from you at all. You notice the house is quiet in a way it never was when you left it empty every weekday for 9 years. You notice you're the only adult on your street at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday. A neighbor waves from her porch, asks if you're on vacation. You say something close to the truth. She looks at you the way people look at something they don't have a box for. Week 3. You catch yourself refreshing your old company's stock ticker at midnight. You tell yourself it's curiosity. Second rule: the rat race was never the job. It was the free structure the job gave you, and you canceled the subscription without reading what else came bundled in. Level 3. The identity gap. You are 35, 2 months in. Someone at a dinner party asks what you do. You used to answer in 1 word. Now you don't have a word. "I'm taking time off," you say, and you watch their eyes recalibrate you downward, just slightly, the same instant a number stops being attached to your name. You laugh about it in the car with your wife. You don't laugh about it later, alone in the shower, replaying the exact half-second the recalibration happened. Your portfolio sits at $1.24 million. It grew while you slept, which used to feel like magic and now feels like an accusation. If the money grows without you lifting a finger, what exactly were you contributing for 9 years? You start a woodworking bench, a half-finished course on back-end architecture, a blog with 1 post. You finish none of it. Nobody is grading any of this. That's the entire problem. For 9 years, every hour of your life had a scoreboard bolted to it, performance reviews, sprint velocity, a bonus tied to a number on a dashboard. Now the hours just pass, ungraded, silent. And you realize nobody ever taught you how to spend time that isn't being measured by someone else. Third rule: freedom doesn't remove pressure. It removes the container that used to. Hold the pressure in one place, and the pressure spreads out to fill every hour of the day instead. Level 4. The search for a cage. You are 36, 6 months free. You join a co-working space, $220 a month, just to have somewhere to be at 9 a.m. You don't have a job to do there. You bring your laptop anyway and open documents nobody asked you to write. A man at the next desk asks what you're building. "Figuring that out," you say, and he nods the way someone nods at a sentence he's already heard from 4 other people this month. You start waking at 5:45 without an alarm, the exact time you used to wake for your old commute. Your body kept the schedule long after your mind let it go. You take a consulting project you don't need the money for. 40 hours over 3 weeks, $6,000. You cash the check and feel something you haven't felt in months. Relief, followed immediately by shame at how much relief you felt. Your wife notices you're calmer the week you have a deadline. She says it out loud, gently, the way people say something to you before you're ready to hear it. You get defensive. You are not supposed to miss the cage. The entire plan was built on escaping it. Fourth rule, you never hated your job. You hated not choosing it. The structure was never the enemy. The absence of choice was. Level 5, the reckoning. You are 36, 9 months out. Your father calls to ask how retirement is treating you. You correct him. It's not retirement, it's financial independence. And hear how defensive the sentence sounds coming out of your own mouth. He asks what you did today. Nothing, really. You tell him you read, you walked, you looked at the account. He goes quiet the way parents go quiet when they're worried and don't want to say so out loud. That night, you sit at the kitchen table with a notebook and write down every day of the past 9 months. Most entries are blank, or one word. Fine, tired, nothing. You count the days you genuinely call good, the kind you'd choose to relive if you had to. 11, out of 270-something. You spent 9 years building the discipline to buy a life you don't actually know how to fill. That part never makes it into the spreadsheet. The account sits at $1.31 million now. The number went up while you sat there counting blank days. You laugh, and it isn't a happy sound. Fifth rule. The money was never supposed to be the destination. It was supposed to buy you the room to build one. You spent 9 years earning the room and forgot to design anything to put inside it. Level 6, the return. You are 37. You take a part-time contract, 15 hours a week, for a fraction of your old salary. You don't need the money. You need the Tuesday. You need a reason to shower before 10 and a person expecting something from you by Thursday afternoon. Old coworkers ask if you're back, a little smug, a little relieved on your behalf. You don't correct them because the true answer is complicated and they don't actually want the long version. Something shifts almost immediately. Not the money, the shape of the week itself. You start a small side project, teaching back-end basics to career switchers, 2 evenings a week, unpaid at first. 6 students become 14, 14 become 40. Somewhere in there it becomes an actual course with your name on it. The account keeps growing quietly in the background, doing its job without you checking on it every hour. You stop refreshing it every day. You check your calendar instead, and for the first time in over a year it has things on it that you chose, not things you're hiding from. Your wife says you look like yourself again. You ask her what that means. Busy, she says, but not the old kind of busy. Sixth rule. Freedom was never actually the goal. Structure with a choice attached to it was the goal. You just spent a year discovering the difference the expensive way. Level 7, the verdict. You are 38. Net worth, $1.6 million. 15 hours a week of teaching, a small business that pays for itself and then some, and a calendar with real white space in it that no longer terrifies you to look at. You are not back in the rat race. You built something smaller, on purpose, with walls you chose the height of yourself. Your daughter asks what you do for work. You have an answer this time, and it isn't a job title. It's a sentence about the people you've helped. She nods like that makes sense to her, because it does. You still think about that Tuesday morning in the empty parking lot sometimes. The shaking you called relief. You know now it wasn't relief. It was your entire identity losing its floor all at once, in real time, with nobody there to catch it. You didn't hate freedom. You'd just never once been handed an unstructured hour in your adult life and asked to fill it with nothing but your own judgment. Most people never find that out, because most people never reach the number that lets them try. You reached the number. The number was never the hard part. Somewhere right now, someone is sitting on a kitchen floor with a laptop open, crying over a spreadsheet that finally says enough. They think the number is the finish line. It isn't. It's the starting gun for a race nobody trained them to run, the one against an empty calendar and their own reflection, with no coach, no scoreboard, and no one keeping score but them. They'll hand in 2 sentences on a Monday morning and walk out of a building at 10:47 a.m. on a Tuesday into a parking lot that's empty because everyone else is still inside. They'll sit in the car, their hands will shake. They'll call it relief. In a few months, they'll understand what that shaking actually was. Everybody does. Eventually. The number was never the hard part. It never is.